Hello, everyone, and welcome to Zest with me, Shel, the podcast that will take you on a journey from the hustle to the harmony, fueling your passion whilst finding your peace. Today, it's an absolute honor to welcome Denise, also known as your midlife mindful drinking mentor, a leading voice in the mindful drinking movement. She is an award-winning writer, speaker, and the host of the Low No Drinking podcast. After decades in hospitality, Denise traded pouring pints for pouring presents, making it her mission to reshape our relationship with alcohol, helping midlife drinkers discover balance, confidence, and joy in a life less intoxicated on their own terms. In this episode, we will explore what it really means to drink more mindfully, live more consciously, and redefine connection in midlife and beyond. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. What an intro. You're good at that.
Really? Oh, thank you so much. Well, it was all built on what you shared with me, so it's all about you. So first of all, I always love to give the viewers a background of where did this all begin? We always have these inspirations, these sparks of curiosity, and I always believe that there's definitely a beautiful, maybe not so all the time, beautiful story behind it.
Yeah. Okay. So my journey, it wasn't really like a one moment epiphany. I didn't sort of wake up one day and just go, right, that's it. Yeah. All needs to go. So as you mentioned, I have a background in hospitality. So I worked in bars, pubs, restaurants, clubs, pretty much anything you can think of. I've done it at some point, and I did that for 24 years. And then during COVID, I was on maternity leave with kid number 2, and I got made redundant. Like lots of people, it happened. But I had a 2-year-old at home and a newborn, and my husband's job was supporting us and not very flexible. So I didn't want to go back into hospitality because it wasn't really an environment to start a brand new job with a newborn. It's really difficult in hospitality. And so I didn't know what to do with myself. So I thought, you know what? I had my kids a bit later in life. I was 38 when I had my first, and 40. So I was 40 at the time on maternity leave, and I got made redundant. I thought, you know what? I'm just going to enjoy having these kids for a little bit and see what I figure out. And during the next couple of years, I kind of started rekindling some old passions that I had for health and fitness. And then my husband and I, one day, we were watching this documentary. It's called Game Changers, and it's about vegan athletes. And I don't know if you've seen it. It's absolutely fascinating because my husband goes to the gym and lifts weights, that sort of manly thing to do. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, they're all going to be skinny runners and everything. And then we watched it, and there were these huge, bodybuilder guys who were on this vegan diet. So we thought, okay, we're going to give this a try. So we went vegan for a few months.
Wow.
I say a few months because it's really hard to be vegan, and so it didn't sort of work for us. But what happened was, during that time, we'd eliminated all the really crappy stuff that was not healthy for us as you do in a vegan diet, and the only thing that I was having that I noticed was still impacting me was alcohol. And I started noticing that it would take me a few days to get over having a few drinks, and I don't mean a proper session. Obviously, you're hungover and you're being sick or whatever. I just mean just a few drinks on a night out. Wow. I know that I do that on a weekend, and by Tuesday, Wednesday, I was still feeling subpar, just not myself. And I had less patience. And I tell this story in one of my Substacks of the day that I was taking my son to school. I dropped my daughter at nursery, and then we walked my son to school. And he was yabbering away, telling me some inane thing that little kids do. And I snapped at him, and he hadn't done anything wrong, and his little face just dropped. And I suppose if there was any one moment I would pinpoint, I would say that was probably the most defining singular moment in realizing that I never wanted to have a hangover again. Because for me, it wasn't about having a rock bottom moment. It wasn't about a trauma, and that's not to belittle anybody who has, because a lot of people in this space are coming from that. But what I began to recognize, that there are a lot of people like me who've just realized that drinking isn't serving them the way that it used to, and they want to do something about it. And so I started exploring, I started investigating, and everything I found about alcohol-free drinks and drinking less came with the caveat that if you're looking at that, then perhaps you do have a quote unquote problem with alcohol. And I thought, well, no, that's not me. I just want to drink differently. I want to drink less. And so I thought, if I'm feeling this way, then there must be other people out there who feel the same. And that was kind of the start of the journey, really. And that led me to launching the magazine, which I've since sunsetted, but I absolutely love doing, and the podcast, which you mentioned as well. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And one thing that I really love that you've mentioned, because I think sometimes this is like the thing that often happens is we go so far one way or so far the other way. And even though you had that really, not nice realization at the time, you didn't then like kind of say, no, that's it. Like you just got really curious and you started exploring it. And I wouldn't say because I'm similar in that sense. Like I feel like I really enjoyed my teens and 20s, and even and then I just remember being like, especially when you have a job where you're working all week and then you drink or something at the weekend, I was just like, really, I've just spent all this time in bed or just eating and the curtains closed, and I was just like, and then I'm going back to work? Really, Shelley, this is what you want? And it was, and again, it just came naturally. But when I started, say, joining these hiking groups or doing activities, I realized that no, I really value this. I really value being able to get up to see, not necessarily sunrise, but things that just people can do, but you might not enjoy it as much, or it takes that extra effort. And I even remember being still like going to dancing and things, and people all around me drinking and me not being worried about it, but everyone, because of my energy, was assuming that I was drunk. I was just like, oh gosh, I don't know why that came up, but I just feel like it's just funny anyway, because everyone makes so many assumptions, and it's like, I have naturally high energy anyway, so actually when I do add that layer to it, I see now that actually it's a bit too much also. So it's all personal to ourselves, I guess, but particularly when it's affecting another, that's definitely something you really need to be reflecting on, I think, and not make it good or bad, or just completely stop it. And that's why I think it's important what you're sharing. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I think absolutely. There's so many points that you pulled out there, which I think are so important to recognize. One, of course you can, and my biggest message to people is, of course you can still have fun when you're not drinking, or if you're drinking differently, you can absolutely do the karaoke, you can slide across the office floor at the Christmas party, you can, make bad decisions, and all these things that people do. It's more a case of being able to, I use the phrase, take back the power of choice from alcohol, so that you can do it on your own terms. I am not anti-alcohol. I am under no illusions that alcohol is going anywhere. But I do think that the way that we are changing, drinking as a society is changing. This isn't a fad. This is a culture shift that people have recognized. And it's not all about, you mentioned, you didn't necessarily want to get up and see the sunset, but you wanted to go for a walk. Now, a lot of the stuff you'll see from like the sober Instagram is, oh, it's wonderful getting up with the sun in the morning. Life is perfect on the other side. No, it's not.
No, I know.
Person. Okay, early mornings are still really early mornings. If you want to get up and see the sunset, being sober isn't going to change that.
Exactly.
Is it gives you the option, and if you are the kind of person that wants to get up and watch the sunrise, then you have the option to do that, because you might say, right, tonight I want to drink less or not drink at all, because tomorrow for some reason I want to get up and watch but a good life is about choices, and that's what it is. It's about helping people to recognize because when I was drinking, when I was in what I call my professional drinking, working in hospitality for 4 years, like I said, I'm 46 now, we didn't have these options. We didn't have these choices, and it wasn't cool. Like, it's almost cool now. You're seeing celebrities and you're seeing royalty and you're seeing sort of pop stars who are all choosing to drink differently. It's accepted now. When I was working in pubs, if you were to say, oh, no, I'm not drinking tonight, it would be like, it's either, are you sick? Are you on antibiotics? Or are you pregnant? It's those three. And then the only cool excuse was, oh, no, I'm still hanging from last night. To which they all have hair of the dog. So, I never knew that it was okay for me to just choose to have something else. But now it is.
I think that's super important what you've really highlighted there, because it's interesting that we just say that, and like, being obviously British myself and speaking to another Brit and tapping back into that, like, because I've lived out of the UK for 7 years, it's interesting now, this conversation we're having, because I went to a country, I was in the Middle East, which wasn't, obviously, we're not saying there are definitely places, there's brunches going on, and if anything, they're drinking more, but there's a lot of places where there isn't any drinking, and I think that's why I got into that mentality. But before that, like what you and I'm not just saying it's the UK, but there is that almost like, not shame, but it's kind of like, is there something wrong with you? And it when you're in it, and I'm not saying you don't have to be in those environments, but there is that pressure. And so I think I agree with you, like, like you would almost be like, oh, I need to be unwell or something, because people are just not going to buy this, like they're going to think, like, why are you even here, what's the point?
I love it. You mentioned like location, so the UK is often seen as sort of leading this mindful drinking movement. Dry January came out of Alcohol Change UK, who are a UK-based charity, and that's now gone global. 15.5 million Brits did Dry January in 2025, and then that's not to mention all the people that didn't do it officially and around the world. But in terms of like places, so my content, my podcast and stuff, the majority of my audience, 50%, is in the UK. About 45% of my audience is in the States.
Wow.
Because in America, there's a lot of similarities between the way that we drink. And also Australia and England have always had a bit of a affinity. So this is happening around the world. And there are a lot of cultures in which drinking is just the norm. It is how you celebrate everything from life to death. It is, you had a baby, let's wet the baby's hair. You go to a funeral, you raise a glass to your departed family member, and everything in between. And so a lot of these places around the world are all going, okay, great, that's fantastic. And I don't want to give it up. I'm not saying I want to stop drinking. I can't do it, like you said, every day and spend every weekend, in bed eating last night's Chinese food whilst the world has a good time without me.
I think that's really important, and thank you so much for sharing those statistics, because that really shows. But I also can kind of see the comical side of it, of like, it's like, right, we'll do January and then we'll carry on. But I know also it's not just that, because even in that month, if people can really stick to it, it's not, again, saying not to do it anymore, but they'll feel a difference. They'll feel a difference in even their mindset. And one thing I really, really want to talk to you about is the mindfulness, because I think, and we can't say that for everybody, but I think if you can be really honest with why you're doing it, which a lot of people don't want to do, and that's the thing, like, if you are generally, like, say it's a celebration, something like that, you're really in that good energy. But if you've just had a shitty day at work and you're coming back and you're like, right, I'm getting down that shop now, I'm going to do this, or something's happened in your life, already the intention and the mindset of that is not when we think of like the consciousness, it's not really the right space to be in. And not saying that then you're going to have a bad time. Like you could still enjoy it and have a great time, put your music on, but it's still going to come back round. It's still not really addressing what you're truly feeling at your heart, I think, in your core.
Absolutely, and I think the phrase is mindful drinking, and I spoke to my sister-in-law about this, and I said, oh, she said, what's going on? I said, oh, the podcast is called Mindful Drinking and Moderation in Midlife, and she said, oh, mindful drinking, and she's a yoga instructor.
Yeah.
So she said, oh, mindful drinking. So does that mean that you do meditations and at the beginning of every show? And so I think it's really important to point out, first of all, I don't do meditations. If anyone's it's not my bag, it's not something I know about, it's not a skill set of mine. And if someone's into that, then it works for them, that's really good. But mindfulness when it comes to drinking doesn't mean that you have to sit and ohm about every single drink.
Yeah.
Not about saying weigh up, because there's a lot of thought processes that could go on if you are what I call actively moderating. So that's things like dry January or setting yourself rules, and we can talk about the different types of moderating techniques if you want to. But if you are constantly thinking about that, and one of the things about dry January is that it encourages people to just stop and then to be like, when can I get another drink? When can I get another drink? And they're white knuckling their way through. But when I talk about mindful drinking, what I mean is understanding the choices that you're making and knowing that it is a choice.
Yeah.
Moving away from automatic drinking habits. Like you said, I've had a really bad day. My boss has been a prat, all my colleagues, they're incompetent. The kids are driving me crazy. The dog's just in a wee in a corner. All these things that happen. And as we get into midlife, these stressors grow in a very different way to Gen Z, which is why I focus on that, because everyone talks about Gen Z, but actually midlife, we have a very unique set of challenges. And to be able to recognize that those things are impacting you, that they are causing you stress, and that you want to relieve that is the first step. So recognize that these things are annoying, and that's okay. You can sit in that. You are perfectly valid at being pissed off with the world if you've had a bad day. And then what happens then is we go, right, well, I want to feel better. So this is kind of like the habit loop that people go through. So you have a stressor, which is your bad day, and then you want to feel better. So that's your reward. And then what happens is the action that we take in the middle is the thing that we think gives us that reward. Now, we have been habitualized by the time we reach our late 30s, 40s, 50s to think that alcohol is the only thing that's going to give us that reward, the only thing that's going to make us feel better. What mindful drinking does is it allows you to recognize that whilst in a split second you might get a moment of relief, there are outcomes that come with your choice to have that drink that may lead to you having more stresses. It may lead to you having a worse day tomorrow. It may lead to you not doing the thing that you need to do to make the stresses go away in the first place. So what I want people to recognize is that if you want to have a drink, that's absolutely fine, but make sure it's your choice. It's not an automatic habit. It's not done out of peer pressure. It's not done out of feeling that you supposed to. We're coming up to Christmas now. Obviously, I'm not sure when this will air, but we're coming up into that festive season now. Oh, go on, it's Christmas. Might as well, it's this time of year. And people think that they have to do these things because they've always done it, or because everyone's doing it. And mindful drinking just allows you to take a moment to step back and say, is this going to serve me, the me that I want to protect? And then the other part of mindful drinking is when you're in the moment. So when you're actually having a drink, whether you're choosing full strength alcohol or a low no drink or a mid-strength alcohol drink, it's about just taking some time with your drink, doing things like slowing down and sipping and not glugging. It's about putting your glass down between sips. Because if you are just standing and having a conversation, you've got a drink in your hand, you are going to drink far more than if you put glass down.
And unconsciously a lot of the time as well, you just
Absolutely. It's about giving yourself the opportunity to take a time out before you order your next drink or before you say yes to the next round, take some time out. I often say, look, go outside for 2 minutes. Pretend you've got to make a phone call if that's what you need to do, or nip to the loo, you know, and just take a moment and think, is this what I want? Am I enjoying myself? Is this getting me where I want to go? And make a decision based on that.
Yeah.
And those are the kind of things that you can, just small practices and taking small moments to have a little think and to help you make decisions that serve you better. Not better decisions, not right or wrong decisions, but just decisions that serve you better for the goals that you've set yourself.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for highlighting all of that. And one thing that I would love your take on, and I guess it's personal and to like the person, I guess, but what I noticed as well is when there was a time where I wasn't, like, I realized that I was drinking for the effect, not necessarily because I was enjoying it. And even like, this is just personal to me, but I used to end up getting so many mouth ulcers as well, and just so many different health things, like from the sugars. And I was just like, I don't want to keep, like, because obviously then you go into work and you've got like a mouthful of mouth ulcers, you're naturally going to be irritated. And I just knew, like, in my body, even if I had the most amazing night afterwards, like, it was just personal to me, I just felt like everything was a bit more of a struggle, like a bit more I had to test myself and be more like patient. And so then what I noticed is then there's the transition in between of, you know, you still want to go out, you want to listen to that music, you want to dance, but I noticed that other people around me were uncomfortable. Like, even if I was comfortable in myself of like, no, I just want like a soft drink or something, it was making other people feel uncomfortable. And I just found, like, society, like socially, it was a really difficult time, because it was almost like, well, why can't I still be included? Why is there like this tension and this odd feeling just because I don't want to drink? Because it was almost like, you know, like, well, we have to cheers, and oh, you're not a part of it now, you know, like, it was a really odd time. Like, I'm in a good place now, but at the time it was really difficult, because it was almost like I wasn't then being invited to things, and because other people felt uncomfortable.
Yeah, and it's the good news is, the first thing I say positively is that is getting better. There's lots of and research out there. I do surveys on my own Substack every week, and actually 2 weeks ago I asked, how do your friends react when you tell them you're not drinking? And around 75% said it was positive. So it is getting
That's amazing.
But there are still those times when some people don't. Some people just don't get it. I was one of those. I worked in pubs for years, and people would have when someone would order an alcohol-free or ask if you had an alcohol-free drink, I'd be like, what is wrong with you? You're in a pub.
Yeah.
So
that's why you're the perfect person for this now, just saying.
So some people just don't get it. So that's the first thing. And I would say that's not your problem.
Yeah.
If somebody else can't accept and fathom your choice to make a positive decision for your life, that is a them problem. That is not a you problem. And the worst thing that an individual can do is try to convince somebody that drinking less or drinking differently or not drinking at all, whatever it is for this night, is the best choice. Why waste your time? It's not your job to convince somebody else that the choices you've made for your life are correct. I find quite often when I go out, if I say I'm not drinking, people then start automatically telling me that, I don't drink very often, and
but that's what I mean. So much comes up in the other person, and it's like I'm not judging, like, it's good, but they're just like, almost like, oh no, we have someone who's watching us. It's like, no.
That is the thing. So what happens is it makes people feel uncomfortable, because it holds up a bit of a mirror to other people's behaviors. And I try to be very careful with my language around this, because a big part of what I do is about not judging. You know, if somebody wants to consume alcohol, we are all adults. You can make your own choices. But what often happens is if you are with a group of, whether it's a group of friends or a group of colleagues or whatnot, and you point out that you are not drinking tonight because you want to do X, Y, and Z, or for whatever reasons, the other person at some point has to internalize that and think, well, I want to do those things, or I want to have a better quality of life. I'm still drinking. Does that mean that I'm not as good a person? Does she think I'm not as good as a person? Are people judging me? Should I be judging? And so they go on this internal dialogue. Easiest way to deal with an internal dialogue that is taking you down a spiral that you don't want to participate in is to turn that outward and to say to somebody else, oh, but go on then. And also there's the other thing is that we are creatures of community. Human beings need community. We need to connect with people. Your audience obviously will understand that in a very much deeper level. You know, we need, it's a natural human desire. And when you are starting to other yourself, it means not only are you different, but the people that you're othering yourself from, they feel different. So there's a loss of security and comfort in that. So if you take your best friend, for example, you know, my best mate and I, we met when we were both working in hospitality. He was the man of honor at my wedding. We've had wild nights out with sex, drugs, and rock and roll and everything you can think of. We have ninja rolled down Soho, in and out of bars, all sorts of crazy stuff. Now, when I decided that I was going to start this sober curious journey on mindful drinking or cutting back,
I can imagine him now. What's happened to you?
Absolutely. And he was baffled, and his retaliation, he still says it now, it's like, well, if you're doing that, I'm going to start a new campaign. It's called Booze, Booze, Booze. Have at it, babe. It's a loss for somebody you're really close to. So for a best friend, they're like, but you're my drinking partner, you're my buddy, you're my partner in crime. I'm pleased to report he's still my best mate. We still catch up. He drinks when we go and have a meet up, and I don't, unless I feel like having one, which I rarely do. And he's completely fine with it now. But it took a little bit of time, and it took a little bit of, you know, for him, I did explain it. I explained myself. I explained how I was feeling. I explained that I was fed up of feeling subpar all the time, that I was fed up of snapping at my husband and my kids, that I wanted to feel healthier and all these things. Because I love him and he's important to me and I want him to understand where I'm coming from. To other people, I don't even entertain the conversation sometimes.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you brought that up, because I know you said earlier of, and I know it was just a quick thing you said, but of saying, explaining the reason why. And I thought, well, actually, we don't always need to. Do you know? No, I just don't want to drink today. Like, I think sometimes we fall into that as well, of like feeling that we have to have a reason, when actually, you know, like if someone was religious or something, we wouldn't then say, but why? You know? We wouldn't start questioning why they wear what they wear, why they do what they do, why, and not, obviously, you know, it's very different. I'm not comparing drinking to religion, but it's just almost like that. Why do we always feel we have to have an excuse? And
you really don't. And you really, really don't. I think it's really important to empower people to know that, you know, your choices to drink less are valid, whatever they are. Like I said, I explain myself to my best friend because he's important.
Yes.
It's important to me that he understands. Other people, I don't bother with the conversation sometimes, you know, particularly, and one bit of advice I will give anyone who goes out with a group and the people start drinking and drunk people start questioning why you're not drinking, it's pointless to a conversation with them. That's the point. And, you know, but also to know that you can just say, no, thank you. And that is a complete sentence.
Absolutely.
I see a lot of stuff out there. I've seen some posts that say things like 10 excuses for why you're not drinking tonight, 10 comebacks that you can share. But you don't need a list of 10 excuses and comebacks. You need something that you feel comfortable saying. So whether that is, you know what, I've got a lot on at the moment, or I just don't fancy it, or no thanks, and move on.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Denise. Yeah, I think, but again, like, I just think, you know, it's that mindfulness, it's just that awareness, and it all goes back to self. It goes back to self, because even with smoking, like, you can't, we can say about smoking, but someone who really generally enjoys smoking There's no point, and there's like that's what that person enjoys. If someone's doing it and they really are not enjoying it, that's different, and that's why it was personal to me. Is it was like I wanted the kind of loss of control, but did I enjoy the actual process and the drinking? For me, no. Some people, they get that beer and you might be the setting like a beer garden, and they really are enjoying that. That's very different. So I think, yeah, it's all just back to self. It's not anyone is better than anyone else. We're all different, and everything has been created for us all to enjoy. So,
Yeah. Well, and I think it's really so you made a really good example there, so maybe sitting in the beer garden or wherever the situation might be, and somebody gets that pint or that glass of wine and they get their first sip, they enjoy that. And of course people do. Of course, I mean, nobody likes alcohol when they're young, and then we learn to like over years and years of drink. I mean, remember your first week, it didn't taste very
but
nice.
that's what I mean. It's like it's just actually quite funny, isn't it?
But what we've got now, and what started me off on this whole journey, is we've got so much choice in terms of what we can drink. So even to the person who says, that beer is the thing that makes me feel relaxed, I say, absolutely. But is it the beer or is it the alcohol?
Or is it the setting? Is it the experience?
Because take alcohol-free beer, for example. You can see, obviously, there's a ton of different drinks behind me on the shelves. Alcohol-free beer is the most successful category in alcohol-free drinks, in that it tastes most like the original drink. Now, is the relaxation coming from the fact that you're having a beer because you like the taste of beer and you like that setting and it's in a pint glass and it feels comfortable? Or is it because it's got alcohol in it and that's going to get you drunk? Because if it's just the alcohol, then you can go and drink anything. Your paint thinner's got alcohol in it. That's not going to be nice for you to drink. If it's the beer, then there's no reason that an alcohol-free drink can't also give you that same feeling, because quite often what we're missing is what we forget is that it's the ritual that we enjoy, and it's not the alcohol itself. It is the moment, it's the feeling, it's the connection, it's the taste, it's the community, it's the friendship, it's sitting in the pub. I love a pub. I absolutely love going to a pub. What's in my glass doesn't change that. And so I always encourage people to explore alcohol-free drinks if it's safe for you to do so. Now, there can be triggers for some people if you have alcohol use disorder, which is the new term for alcoholism. So don't sort of use alcoholism anymore, or alcoholic. We say alcohol use disorder, but of course that's sort of more clinical. But for those people, some people find alcohol-free drinks a trigger. Some people with alcohol use disorder say that alcohol-free drinks have saved their lives. And that they have given them the ability to get everything that they wanted from alcohol but couldn't get without taking it to a dark place.
Wow.
So alcohol-free drinks are a fantastic option to help you still get that feeling, still get that relaxation, still get that connection, and still feel, like you pointed out earlier on, that you're not missing out. I'm a grown-up. I don't want to go to the pub and have a pint of Coke. I want to have a wine, I want to have a beer, I want to have a cider, I want to have a cocktail. Now we're in a phase where these drinks are phenomenal. Now, are they all good? No, a lot of them are terrible, and I'm not going to lie and say that they are. But in any category, I had pizza the other day and it was terrible, but I'm not going to stop
exactly.
So there's a lot out there, and the pubs in particular are getting better. Restaurants need to do a bit more work. Bars, they're trying. But for people who are at home, because most drinking, as much as we talk about pubs and things like that, studies by DrinkAware have shown that the majority of drinking in the UK, and it's similar for the US, takes place in the home. Wow. So you can go online to places like Wise Bartender and Dry Drinker, an alcohol-free drinks company, and there's lots of others, and explore an amazing selection of low, no, and light and mid-strength alcohol drinks that can fit into your life as something that you might have. Do you know what? It's Wednesday. I've had a stressful day. I want a drink, but I don't want alcohol. Oh, I've got an alcohol-free wine that I can have, or an alcohol-free beer. and then on Saturday you go to the pub and you have your alcohol full one, whatever it is that works for you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing all that. Yeah, and just thinking about that, because I think it'll be around the time of dry January coming up soon. What like kind of advice, or what like would you encourage? Not encourage, but like I feel like everyone should give something a go sometimes, like even if you do it for 5 days, I think everything, just challenge yourself, put yourself out there, see if you can do it.
Yeah, so my advice for people who want to do dry January, if you feel like you want to do it, then absolutely give it a go. I think one of the difficulties, so there's a lot of people in the low-no space who are not so keen on dry January. And the reason being is, as I mentioned before, a lot of people go into this and then they just white knuckle their way through.
Yeah.
They have a manic Christmas and New Year's. It might be
probably with intense drinking as well.
If you celebrate Thanksgiving, which is at the end of November, if you think from that moment on all the way to New Year's Eve, that's 6 weeks of every week there's something to do, somewhere to go, someone to catch up with, and it's all done over drinks. Then you've got New Year's Eve, full blowout. You wake up on New Year's Day feeling like death warmed up, and you're never drinking.
Happy New Year!
And so you go into it and you're like, okay, right, that's it. I'm going to do dry January. And you start it from a really negative place of, I am not going to put myself through this again. It's all crap. Life is terrible. And this is going to fix everything. And then 2 days later, your body's kind of recovered. Your brain is starting to get better. And you're like, wow, this is going to be a long time. Wow.
You've forgotten already how you felt 2 days ago.
And then you get to the middle of the month and you're like, okay, I'm halfway through. I haven't had a drink. Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, another 2 weeks so I can have a drink. Okay, 10 more days so I can have a drink. 7 more days so I can have a drink. And all you're doing is counting down until you can go out on February the 1st and get absolutely rorted. And you completely missed all the great stuff that can come from it. So, first of all, I would say that dry January, even though the official approach to it is to go completely alcohol-free, it can look however you want it to look. Yeah. So I have a mindful drinking reset that I offer people, which is a chance to look at reducing your alcohol intake however you want to for a month. So that might be none at all, it might be moderating, it might be mindfully. So there are different ways to do it.
Yeah.
I would say if you do decide to do it going cold turkey, do it from a place of gain, not from a place of lack. Don't do it from, okay, I'm not allowed to drink for a month. Do it from, I'm choosing to take a break so that I can X. And fill in that blank. What do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? How do you want to feel at the end of this time? Because there needs to be a reason for it. Because if you don't have a reason, a driver beyond just not having alcohol, then your brain doesn't associate any benefit with doing it. Because alcohol to your brain is a quick fix. It goes, right, and when I feel stress, I have alcohol, I feel better. So it's like, well, that's a shortcut. Why don't I just do this? Your brain wants the path of least resistance. It takes you and your mind to tell your brain, this might be the path of least resistance, but it's also not the one that's serving me. Instead, I want to read more books, see more sunsets. I want to walk more. I want to do something different with my kids. Every weekend in January, I'm going to take my kids to a different playground. It could be something simple as that, or a hobby that you wanted, or learn to speak Klingon. I don't know, whatever it is. But do it from a place of gaining something rather than just holding on tight and trying to get through. Because then you get to recognize that this can be a lifestyle enhancement rather than just a fleeting moment in time. And I think that that's the most powerful shift that you can have during a month-long break. And also, it doesn't have to be January. It doesn't have to be, everyone's like, oh, it's dry January or sober October. You can do it whenever you want to. If Christmas is coming and you're feeling a bit tense or worried or nervous about how much drinking is going to be taking place and you don't want to participate in it, then start now. Start today. Why
Absolutely.
wait?
And I think that's really powerful what you mentioned, for people to get in contact with people like you, that it doesn't have to be that's it, nothing. Like there are ways you can just reduce. There are ways you can, which is why it's perfect to speak to you. So thank you so much for highlighting that. And another thing I really, really, really love that you mentioned, that not just for drinking, just generally in life, I think, yeah, we always take or we add something. So, like thinking of New Year's resolution, oh, I'm going to stop that or I'm going to start that. But you so beautifully said it of actually, where's the balance in the both? Okay, I'm going to reduce this, but I'm going to incorporate this. And I think that's so, like, even me thinking back now, yeah, we always focus on something we're stopping or something we're starting. But actually, we want to be successful. We want to achieve what we're putting out there. So again, if we're already in that mindset of 21 days and counting, don't set yourself up to fail. Just, I would like to reduce, and then if you teetotal, wow, I've actually exceeded this. And that's so much more empowering than starting literally from the top and then maybe breaking a promise to yourself, feeling really rubbish about it, but then being like, oh, I don't care, I'm just going to drink anyway, I do what I want, and almost self-sabotaging. Whereas if you almost set something that could be easily achievable, and then you exceed it, that's so much more uplifting.
It absolutely is. And you make a really good point there, because what people do is they go, oh, okay, I made it to 10 days and I had a drink. Oh no, I failed. Oh well, I might as well just, so what?
Yeah.
You haven't failed. You've tried something. It's gone differently to what you expected. So learn something from that.
Yeah.
Like, because experience gives you knowledge and you can learn from that, incorporate that in and go, do you know what? Okay, I had a drink. It's not the end of the world. I still would like to go the rest of this month and drink less, or change it, or maybe I enjoyed that. Do you know what? That was all right, but I don't want any more. All right, next weekend I'm going to have one as well. And maybe that's what you do. Just trial and error. And I caveat this by saying that obviously that's not right for everybody. There are some people out there, and I want this to be clear, that there are some people out there who do have a life-damaging problem with alcohol. If you do, then none of what I'm saying is for you. And go and seek help from professionals who can really support you with the changes that you need to make. But for the 75% of the population, both here and in the States, who are actively looking to moderate their drinking in some way, shape, or form, you happening to have a drink when you said you didn't, or you said you wouldn't, is not failure. It's feedback. Take it, incorporate it, learn from it, and try again.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. You're amazing. I've really enjoyed having this conversation with you. Just one final thing before you go, because I want to be mindful of your time. If there was something you would share with someone listening right now that you think they'd really benefit from hearing, what would you tell them?
The best bit of advice that I ever got was when I was a kid, and somebody told me that a good life is about choices. So make sure that you are supporting your ability to have as many choices as serve you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Denise. It's been an absolute pleasure.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome.